Hi knitters, welcome to PJ Knits. My name's Penny and I live in Central Illinois, and I am a knitter, a blogger, and a YouTube podcaster. I've said this before. Every time I say that, I chuckle at myself talking into the camera and saying those things. Welcome back to those who have been here before, and hopefully we'll be getting some new viewers in 2020. Today is Monday, January 20th, 2020. I just realized that a little bit earlier that we've got 320s there. It is Martin Luther King Day today and a holiday for us at work, so I am off. And then tomorrow I'm going back for 2 days, and then my friend Debbie and I are heading to Madison area for the Sun Valley Fibers January Thaw retreat, and we will be meeting up with other knitwits from Central Illinois this weekend and with our friend Amanda and seeing some people that we've met along the way at other events. So we're looking forward to seeing you all. So that's kind of a rundown of where I'm going to be this week. Central Illinois weather today on the 20th. You're going to love this, in keeping with the 20th theme. In Central Illinois right now at a little afternoon, it is 20 degrees. I think we need to play the lotto and use the number 20 because this is a good day to do that. Anyway, let's get started. I videoed a podcast a couple of weeks ago and never put it up because I got to thinking about it and I thought, oh, it was really too heavy with, oh, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at my bag, look at this yarn. And for me, the podcast is a lot of a video diary of my knitting. I am hoping to connect with people on other knitting levels. And so I don't want it to always be what I'm doing, but I'm hoping that you will get the same out of this YouTube podcast now and in the future. Some inspiration, because those podcasts that I go back to as soon as I see that they've dropped an episode are the ones that I watch first, and they inspire me. They make me want to buy a yarn. They make me want to knit something in particular. Sometimes they make me want to knit it, and I go for it, and then it's like, no, Penny, you're not 40. And so sometimes it inspires me not to knit something, but to be enthused by those who are knitting wonderful things out there. And hopefully I will be able to, and will do as they do, share with you designers that I like, share with you yarn I like, maybe some techniques and maybe some shawls. I hope that this podcast will be an inspiration to you as well. And I'm hoping that along the way, you will learn something, maybe for me, and that you don't know, that you have not had any track record with, or just things in general, something new that, and maybe it's not even something new, maybe it's something old that I bring to this podcast. But I'm hoping along the way we will have some good conversation, both here below and in the Ravelry group PJ Knits. So just to kind of give you a little, I wanted to give you a little something I did yesterday. I am on Instagram. I am PJ Knits, and it seems to me like I am in PJ Knits all the time. PJ Knits on Instagram. I'm on Instagram all the time. I'm constantly looking at. That is really, and I've mentioned that I think before, my social media of choice, because on my Instagram feed, I only follow knitters. I had some people that I went to high school with that I watched, followed, and they've kind of sort of dropped away from the Instagram, I think. So the ones that I watch and follow in Instagram are only knitting related. So I know that that is where I'm going to get my fix of knitting. And I discovered something in the last few days, which I always knew, but I love the feature on Instagram of the favorites, things that you want to remember. and it's under saved, and you can save something, a particular post that you want to remember later rather than writing it down or going through. And what happened was I was getting, as many of you probably do as well, I was getting a lot of posts that I was saving. And trying to figure out, when I was at Panera a few weeks ago trying to talk about particular sweaters we were looking at, I had to do. I was flipping through my saved folder trying to find different ones. And it hit me then that I could, on Instagram, separate them out into groups. And I spent yesterday and this morning doing that with my posts. And just in case you don't know how to do that, I went to, and I want to just talk to you through it a little bit, but I went to my Instagram profile page, and up here in the corner is those 3 lines. I tapped on the 3 lines and came up with a list of things, and I then clicked on saved, which brought up, at the time, all of my posts. And so what I did is I went through all of my posts, clicked on all of my posts, and brought them all up. And I started from the very beginning, and I clicked on each one of the posts, and I looked at it seriously and thought, is this still relevant? Okay. So for example, I pulled up a sweater from Knit Love Wool, and I know that I saved it because it has this little ribbon blacked here. And so what I did is I clicked on that button. I removed it from, at the time, I removed it from my posts, but left it still up. And if it was one that I still wanted, still thought was relevant, I clicked on that ribbon again, made it dark, saved it, and I got an opportunity to save to a collection. And when that popped up, I pressed on Save Collection, and then I went through and I saved it to the appropriate place. Now, if I wanted to create a new group to save it into, you do the plus mark, and then you just type in where you wanted to save it to. So we'll call this a test. Clicked Done. It creates a new category, a new file as it would be, and told me that it's saved to there. That way, when I get ready to show somebody something, I can go back to one of my little files, either to all posts or tests or wherever it was at, and click on it, and it would come up with all of the items that I had saved to that space. I don't know what took me so long to figure that out, but I have lots of files now, and I put a lot of different things in here. I have put them into, this particular one was Knit Love Wool. I put one into a Techniques. I did a Haps because I really love the Hap shawl. I did a Possibles, meaning I possibly want to knit that sweater or shawl. I did a Miscellaneous. I did color combos, things that I really loved particular colors on. I love this sweater in the middle. I did a Hospice. I did shawls. I did Scrappy. I did house decorations because I do follow everything turquoise in, I think it's Cabins and Cottages on there. That's one of the non-knitting ones I did. I did a designer I love, Heidi Kermeyer. I did a gluten-free. I did a Shetland sweaters to knit. I did a Weight Watchers. I did styling ideas that I get ideas from maybe like Talbot's or wherever, or other knits. I did macaron, and I know I spelled it incorrectly, but that's that's just a funny that I have. I did one that's shoes because I'm always on the lookout for really cool shoes. I did one for Iceland. I did one for Knitting Adventures. I did one for the Knitwits. I did one for the birthday presents or Christmas. I did something that This one is called Buy, and maybe it's a little cool idea, a little, you know, anything in particular. It just depends. This one is an actual, the item that's on top is a little, you drop your saran wrap in there, and it has like a sliding bar that cuts it. So you know how you always are doing saran wrap and you're trying to get it off of the thing? And so I saw that on one of the food channels. Somebody had it. It was either the Pioneer Woman or Valerie Bertinelli, one of the two. I can't remember, but I put that in there. I have a food one. I have a exercise one because I'm always getting those ads on Instagram. Hey, you need to look at this. I made one for Espas because it's a favorite website. I did one for Barnyard Yarn. I did one for Dress Knits, which is a dress. I think it was called the Lotta dress, and I was saving people who had knit that and showed that particular dress on them. I did a toys one. I did a PYS, which is called, in my mind, is Personal Yarn Shop. That's things that are knit out of my stash that I might want to look at for future. I have one for my friends Susan and Sally Rainey. I have one for coffee. I have one for Christmas decorations. I have a Snoopy one. I have a Ching Fiber. I have a mitered square. I have a beginner knit one. I have a Possible Yarns. I have one for Shibui, Unspun, and then I have Wool and Honey. I have one for Minnesota, Nevis, Minnesota, where we vacation. I have Woolfolk. I have ZK. I have Something to Sew. I have socks. I have Fair Isle. I have Alice Starmore. I have jewelry. Those are jewelry makers. I have some Unspun again. I have CB colors, things that look like, that I want to remember, the colors that go together with Caribbean blue, turquoise. I have La Bien-Aimée. I have hats. I have products. I have mitered again. I have two mitered. I have minis knits. I have one for makeup. Yoke sweaters, knit picks styles. And that means knit pictures styles that I like the aesthetic of how they took the photograph for blogging. Accessory knits, kids knits, bags, Apple accessories, meaning things for my watch. And then I also have one that I am curating right now is knitting and sewing rooms, and I only have 2 of those right now, but ideas that I see that somebody has created a knitting room that would be really super cool. And so you can see with everything that I'm saving all the time that I really needed a way to file to keep this all together. So Instagram saved to the rescue, and it took a little bit of time, and I weeded out some because some of those I had in there were from cowls and scarves, and so I'm like done with that project. So I took those out, and will periodically do that. So now when I pull up something that I want to save on Instagram, it can go to a particular category and then easily to be found if I want to show it to somebody. So I hope that helps. I hope that's something that someone out there can use. Okay, so let's talk about books and bags this week. I am bringing out a couple of books from my library because I wanted to share these with you. I am knitting something out of one of these, but I had taken one of the book that I'm knitting a scarf out of to my local yarn shop, Fiber Universe, and everybody that was there had never seen these books. And so I don't know that they're still available anywhere, but because I've had them for quite some time, but they're called, this is Vogue Knitting on the Go, and they did a baby knits book. They did a couple of baby knits books, and I have them. This particular one was scarves. And then later on, they came out with another one called Scarves 2. And they just have some great, great scarves in them. And again, I don't know, and I will investigate before I do the show notes on the Ravelry group, I'll investigate to see if this is still available. This particular one has a copyright of 2003, and I even love that one on the front. And this one was 1999. So they just got some really, look at this one, look at this, just some cool scarves, different things that you could knit, a little intarsia there. There's a cute child's sheep scarf in that one. Diagonal block. This is entrelac. I just thought there was some really cool things, and I wanted to share these with. And I'm knitting one out of this that I'm going to talk about in just a little bit. But just some great things. At the time, I thought when I bought this, I really bought it for this because the car wash scarves back in the day, and this one I thought was super, super cool. It was in keeping, it was fashionable back then. Somebody was doing those scarves and that. So anyway, I just wanted to share these two books out of my library from Vogue Knitting Scarves, and I will share more of these down the road with you as well. And then next up for the bag portion of this, I saw this, and I wish I could remember, and I need to start making a better note. I saw this on somebody's podcast, and I wanted to try this out, and maybe it was one of my friends too. Podcast or one of the gals from ZK. But this is a bag from By the Bay Yarn, and I think this was Becky. I think Becky was the one who had one of these, and so I immediately had to order one because this is going to be my spring bag. This is out of a canvas. It's a lightweight canvas, and once I put some stuff in, it will easily sit flat. Plus, it's soft, so it cinches up quickly. And I want to tell you that if you are like specific colors, she has lots and lots and lots of different colors of this. No teal turquoise one, but this is kind of a slatey blue, and I thought this would be great for spring and summer, carrying around back and forth my knitting to the yarn shop, and can double as a quick purse just to throw my wallet, my sunglasses, my keys, and my phone in it and head down the road. So I bought this. You know how I love a good bag, and again, this is By the Bay Yarn Company. So I wanted to share that with you for spring, because it will come eventually. And that is the books and bags. Now, off the needles, guys. Turtle Dove number 2. And this is the one I have told you about before. This was out of Drops Air, and I purchased mine out of Espace Tricot, but I will link in the show notes where you can buy this yarn in the United States. This is a little bit lighter weight than the original one I made that was out of Woolfolk. It was out of a brown, and it's a little bit heavier. This one's a little bit lighter weight. I am loving this. This yarn is very, very soft, and I'm just loving it. It's not scratchy at all, and I really do like it, and the price point was not too terribly bad as well. I still have 2 extra skeins left, and I think this will be perfect for a scarf or even a hat to knit. So I'm just loving this. This is split hem as the other one is. That's the way I did it. You can do the rolled hem version if you want, but I am not a rolled hem person. I don't need any more rolls down at the waist, but I love it. This is a twisted rib that they use quite often on it, and by the time I'm done, guys, and I know I didn't have to do the twisted rib. I could have done the regular rib, you know, knit 1, purl 1 if I wanted to, but I really liked it on it. But by the time I got done with this one, the neck, I did a mock neck, so not as tall. This is just perfect. I don't want any more than this. And by the time I did the hems, the 5 and 4 inches at the back, I was like over the twisted rib. So yeah, the next time I would rethink doing the twisted rib. But I really do like it. I made modifications because I've talked often about the fact that I have to deal with an arm issues. And so on my project page on Ravelry under Penny J, I have talked about when I started the decreases for that and went to the wrist as well. I switched. I believe this was like was supposed to be a 7 on the needle. You go down a couple of sizes, and so I believe this was supposed to be a 7. But my friend Becky for Christmas gave me some flexi flips that were bamboo, and they were a size 6, and I pulled them out and used them on it, and I kind of liked it for down here. I didn't mind knitting with them. I had a pair of metal ones and I didn't like them as well, but the bamboo ones I really did like. The only issue I had, and I may have talked about this before, with those flexi flip bamboo on this was the join at some point in time. And it could be just getting used to it. That's part of it. Getting, as anything, new needle, getting used to it is kind of somewhat of an issue. So anyway, I love this knit. I'm going to wear it this week, and the only problem I have with it is you can see what I'm getting right here, and I did short rows in the back, so I don't know why I'm getting this pull up on it. I'm not sure what that issue is. I probably should have done maybe a few more stitches up here, or maybe a looser needle, because a lot of times I start on a smaller needle because of the narrowness of my shoulders, and then so I may have needed to have knit that on a larger needle, or given a bigger gauge here. That's an issue, but you know, it is what it is, and I'm dealing with it for now. So anyway, this is Turtle Dove 2. I highly recommend it. Espace Tricot, free pattern, as all of their designs out of the two ladies, Melissa and Lisa, are free on their website. So kudos to them, and I love this, my second version of it. I think I'm done with Turtle Doves now. There won't be a Turtle Dove 3 for me, but I do recommend it. What else is off the needles? Well, Knitmas. Guess what? Done. Empty bag. I can't show it to you because it's a secret until I get it in somebody's hands. Probably in a week or so, because we're going, like I said, up to Madison later this week, and I have a few more treats that I want to put into my box. But Knitmas is done, and I am pleased, because now it's time to knit for myself. You know, it's one of those last, not Christmas present, but one of those after Christmas presents that I'm doing as part of the Lupin About group on Ravelry. And this is a group that ladies that we met, Debbie and I met in Rochester a few years back, became part of their group. And so this is our third Knitmas that we've participated in. What happens is you get a name, and it's a secret, and you knit for that person using some questions they've answered, and then you put some goodies in a bag for them, box, mail it out to them, and so it's like an after Christmas present. And it's a lot of fun to see who gets who, and you're thinking, oh, I bet she got me, and then somebody will post and you're like, oh no, it wasn't me. So it's exciting to wait for the mail to come and see their interpretation of things that we like. And so I'm looking forward to getting mine at some time in the future, and I'm looking forward to my person getting theirs probably in a couple of weeks. And then I will share with you on Ravelry and Instagram my project. I have to take some pictures of it as well. So those are the things that are off the needles. On the needles, now that I am finally done with my Knitmas, I can go back to the mystery knit along that I'm doing. That it was a design by Telly Bean Knits, and it started the first week in January, and it goes, the final clue will come this week, and I'm way behind. I started in on mine, and then I was like, I cannot keep up on these clues because I need to get my Knitmas done. I also had in clue 1, when I was almost done with it, I didn't have enough. I had too many stitches. I had the wrong number of stitches, and so it was like, you need to stop, put it down, and I ripped it out. And so it's been waiting. And so then this morning, after I finished Knitmas last night, I could take it back out. Now, I'm sure that anybody who's watching this has progressed beyond where I'm at, because I'm still in Clue 1, and this is the MCal was using, I'm using Lolo Did It's yarn, and this is the in the sour kit. It's called Tasting Menu, and those are all my yarns. You see, I haven't even got them all kitted up, but this is what the first clue is shaping up to look like. And it's using some gradient sets. I remarked to my friends that this kind of this looks like either icing on a cake, or I don't know why it kind of reminds me of sushi. Maybe it's the green in that. But that's where I'm at, and I'm hoping to this afternoon to knit a little bit and maybe get Clue 1 done and get on to Clue 2. Nice thing about this is I have until February 12th to complete, and so I don't think that'll be a problem. This is not going to be something I'll take with me to knit on while I'm away, but rather this is the kind of thing that I like just knit on a little bit while it's just me and the TV at night. So this is on the needles, and I'm so glad to be back using this. And again, the yarn I'm using is Lolo Did It, not Digits. Okay, stop. Hi, back. I bought the kit, and I am using Lolo Did It. I am using her original, and I'm sorry, you can't, the light is really blowing out now. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out where I want a podcast from, and it's kind of difficult these days. But anyway, this is Lolo Did It, and it's an 85% extra fine superwash merino and 15% nylon. I'm just going to say I'm loving, loving, loving this yarn, and I'm doing it on a size 6 needle, and that's what it's scrumptious to me. It's soft, and I'm looking forward to another project down the road that I want to knit with this. I want to get some yarn specific for it, but I'm really I'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, I'm loving this yarn, original from Lolo Did It, and I'm loving the knit on that. So that is what I have got on the needles, and then I have a couple of things on the needles. Now this particular one is from the Scarves 2 book. I had a thought that because we are so late in celebrating Christmas with our kids over in Iowa, that maybe I could get a couple of scarves done before we go over in a few weeks. And I am going to take, one of them is that I've talked about it before, the faux reindeer scarf for my grandson. If I don't get his done, then I will save it for maybe Valentine's Day. I don't generally give Valentine's presents. I usually send them a little card with a couple of bucks in it. But I may save it for next Christmas for both of them. And if that's the case, that'll be fine too. But I am going to take the faux reindeer scarf with me to January thaw, because it's just around and around for like 40 some inches and easily put down, easily to go into a bar or restaurant and knit on while I'm waiting. So it's going to go with me. But I thought if I knit one for my grandson, my granddaughter's going to need one. And the little girl, the one who just turned 1, she cannot have a scarf yet. Maybe next year. But anyway, if I get these done in time for this year's giving, I will. But I am knitting her. I thought this would be cute. Since he was getting a reindeer one, I thought a little lamb would be perfect for him. And this is out of the Scarves 2 book. And again, I've done the head already, and I'm doing the body, and it's just knit, 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 knit. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to share with you the yarn that I got at my local yarn shop. This she's had for a while, and my local yarn shop is Fiber Universe, and some friends, Debbie and some others, have made cowls out of this. Debbie made a jacket out of it for one of her grandkids, and this is Sirdar Snuggly Bunny, and I had some of this 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer, from another yarn shop that was that was not solids. They were variegated, and it was so soft. And I made a couple of scarves out of what I had. And now it has come back only in solids. And it looks better. but it's a fluffy, fluffy yarn. It's so soft. Let's see, isn't it perfect for a lamb? I love that. There you go. And it's 100% nylon, so I can wash it. But I couldn't resist getting started on it last weekend in between my little Knit Miss project, and because I wanted to get it to the point for January thaw that all I had to do was just knit on the fluffy snuggly. And so here I've got my little head, and now I'm just going to knit. And it has become obvious to me today during this podcast that this is not the ideal place to be during the day. When I put this in a couple of different spots, I had the light shining behind me, and I was like, ooh, who is that old person with all those wrinkles? But anyway, so I've started on her little scarf, and this is going to be so much fun. And I'm taking that to January thaw because it's easily knit, and on both of those. So those are a couple of things that I'm taking with me. And then lastly, I have, how many projects do you take when you go on a retreat? Debbie and I are going to be gone for our knitting, sitting down and knitting probably 2.5 days tops. So I've got my 2 scarves that I'm taking. All right, I've got 4 projects I'm taking. I've got my Weekender, which has not had any kinds of love lately, but I've got it, and this is in Briar Rose Fiber Arts. Another one. I've got 16, 18 inches to go. That's all on the round. Perfect, I think, perfect retreat knitting. And just going to knit, 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 knit along on it. This is the point where, if you're bored with what I'm knitting, to be continued, the Weekender. I'm loving that, and I really want to get this done because now's the perfect time to be wearing the Weekender over shirts or turtlenecks or whatever because it's so cold out. And then in the spring, it'll be ready to go as well. And that's the back side. I am not doing helical knitting on this. I am just using the yarn as it comes because I want to. So that's what will be the right side. And that is the detail on it. So I'm super in love, and I am going to wear this a lot. And I'm a fan of Chris Ruzian's yarn. And then finally, on the needles, I am also taking, last week on Friday, it was cold and snowy and rainy and crappy. And I had to come out from work, and I have to walk a ways. And I'm like, I need to put my hat on. But unfortunately, I had my gloves that that are not knit by any means, but I had them on, and I thought, and I have a hood that I put up. My hood is huge. We talked about this, friend of mine, Pam, and I have this coat that's really super warm, and when you put the hood on, it's like huge, and you really need a scarf to put around it. And I have some cowls and things like that, but I also, with that, I made a hat because I made this a couple of years ago because I wanted a hat to wear, and I wanted it to be knit. And so I ordered from Espace Tricot. This is their pull the wool over hat, and I knit myself a hat out of Aran Weight and then Shibui silk, okay? And so that was the end of that. I had a small ball left, and I thought, well, I need to knit a scarf, but I didn't have enough of really either one of them to do. So I ordered from Love Yarn Knit in Smyrna, Georgia. There's a yarns website, Knit Wool Yarn, Love. Anyway, I'll link it below. I should have wrote it down. It really upsets me when I don't follow through with that, but I will write it down. Anyway, it's a super online presence. I'm so sorry. I will put it in the show notes. I will talk about it in Ravelry as well. But anyway, I ordered the yarn. It is in Bubble. I ordered the yarn from them. But I did not order any extra shibui because I didn't really want to get a whole skein of shibui. And this particular one is bubble, but I used a teal shibui. And so I did, when I ordered the yarn from Georgia, because they had a couple of skeins of this bubble, I ordered it, and as you can see, okay, what a change it does with the green. But I had leftovers of my homespun house from my no frills, and so I thought, well, I'm just going to take it along with this, put the two together, and I'll knit myself a scarf, which I have done. And so I'm taking this as well. But you can see what's happening here is the difference between putting a cream, this is fresh sheets, is what I'm using, and then using the teal. Yes, they're somewhat alike, but not exact. And I'm okay with that. So what I'm going to do with my leftovers from this is I'm going to knit some mittens and see if I have enough of that. So this is accompanying me as well. It's a simple rib scarf. And then I want a scarf to go with my hat. And then when I get back, I'll do some mittens. So 4 projects heading off. Too many? Well, you never know. You never know when you're going to get stuck and have to stay over one day. Years ago, many years ago, I was going to a retreat in Iowa, and it was over the weekend. And I went with my friend Julie, and she drove, and we went. And while we were there, it snowed terribly, and it was supposed to get over on Saturday, and we were coming home on Sunday morning, and would get home on Sunday. And it snowed terribly Saturday night, and nobody was getting out on the roads in Iowa on Sunday morning. So we had to, her and her sister and I, we had to stay another night at the hotel. So, case in point, you never know when you're going to get snowed in. So it's better to have extra projects, right? That's what I think. So anyway, that's what's going on in the PJ Knits world of knitting. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you will come back and subscribe if you haven't so far, because the more subscribers we get, the more it gets out in front of other people. And please tell others as well that I'm here, and would love to have them take a gander. I'm not sure who says that anymore, but anyway, thank you. I hope you're having a great winter wherever you're at. Next weekend, Debbie and I will be doing a podcast together from Madison at January Thaw. We're looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having somebody to talk to besides just myself, and we will talk about things that are going on. And I'm so looking forward to the weekend, seeing some new friends, and seeing all the knits, and seeing George and Jeanette and the yarn. Sun Valley Fibers will have all of their yarns there. And it's just a great fun time to get away in the winter time. So I am looking forward to that, and we'll have more as we progress with that. So anyway, thanks again. Stay warm. I'm going to. And until next time, listen attentively to the world, and then write your own story. Bye.